So today, guys, we're going to be showing you guys a build I think a lot of you guys will enjoy, especially if you're new or returning. It's probably one of the better solo player builds to play in the Division 2 because it has a lot of damage and it has the survivability you need to survive whenever you guys are playing solo on heroic with how many ever directives you would like. Now, I will tell you, if you guys are going to run this build, you can run it two different ways, and I'm going to be showing you gameplay of both. And the two different ways just have to do with the skills used. With the first way, it's going to be with the decoy drone, and what that's going to allow you to do is throw out your decoy and run around with the enemies, really focusing that decoy drone and you freely being able to roam around. The thing is, you don't have that protection as something like the shield, which I'm going to show you in just a second. But they both work good. I will tell you, if you're really good at popping the shield and putting it away and popping it back out to freely move around, then that is going to be the more tankier way to run this build, because that shield is going to be very powerful. But if you want something just to be able to run around, and I know a lot of you guys hate using the shield, well, I wanted to show you that this build can be ran like that. What we're going to do now is let's get into actually showing you how it works with the shield, because this is where I feel this build is the strongest. And the reason why is because your shield is so strong. You're about to see it in a few. I don't have to use it just yet, but once I do start taking some of that damage, I can proc it out. Boom. And I continue to have that bonus armor a lot more than when I was running no shield at all. And that's mainly because when I know I'm taking damage, I can proc the shield. If I'm taking no damage, well, then I don't need to proc it. But having the ability to have the shield there and know it's there, look, just to have it, I know another guy's coming. I know I'm going to have two guys shooting at me. And you see, this helps out so much. I can throw the shield away, put it back out. See? And I'm keeping that bonus armor up. And that's honestly why, if you do or you don't mind running the shield, that's going to be the best way to really effectively run this build, because you get to keep your bonus armor more than if you didn't have a shield, because they have to break through that shield first, especially if you're face tanking them like this. And that means, well, you're going to be able to keep it up a little bit longer. Now, I am running this build with 1.7 million armor, and that's why when you see me get bonus armor, it's chunks and chunks. And you can just see, you kill 2-3 guys, you just have so much. Look how much bonus armor you have right there. And that means that the enemy has to shoot through that bonus armor. And then also, if you have the shield, you can keep that bonus armor. And that's what's so good about this. I will tell you though, I am having a blast playing this build. I want to go with something that had a lot of burst damage. And this build, the way I have it spec'd out, has that, right? The vector with the build, the rate of fire, just the damage is there, and you just see stuff just shred so fast. So if you guys been looking for a build to run with the Vector SBR, the non-name version of the Dark Winter, and run it with a specific talent that's going to provide a lot of damage, this is going to be that build right there. As you just see, enemies just don't have a chance. And if you're a solo player looking for a really good damage build that can help you get through heroic control points, help you get through content a lot faster, this might be the build for you. Just look at this. Insane damage, a lot of fun, especially at 1.7 million armor. That's the crazier part, right? Having that much armor, being able to put out this much damage. And we're clearing this so quick. Look, enemies going down. Pull out the shield when I need it. I never really had any issues with keeping my health up, right? Or keeping my armor up, because I was literally just shredding them. And then if I got in that situation where I couldn't shred them, then I would proc the shield. And boom. That quick. So I know you guys want to get into build, so let's do that right now. So now that you saw gameplay of both, I'll show you guys how I have this build set up. But the first thing I want to do is go to the stats so you can see the armor regen I am getting, because I do currently have a full stack on my backpack, which is an exotic backpack. So if you look real quick, we have 49,000 armor regen, and we're sitting at 1.65 million armor. So they rounded up to 1.7, but yeah, 1.6 million armor on this build. Now, what I was talking about with the Memento backpack, if you guys are new, returning, this is a bag that works with a lot of different builds, and I'm speccing this one a little bit different. We have weapon damage, armor, skill tier, and we have critical hit damage on here, and then obviously kill confirm. Because I have 3 reds, I'm getting 15% weapon damage every time I pick up a trophy. I'm also getting 40% bonus armor. That's why you see I get the chunk of bonus armor on the build, and we're getting that 5% skill efficiency. Now remember, you can get a 30 stack, what that means that it's a full memento stack, and you could hold that over 300 seconds and keep refreshing every time you pick up a new one, and then it just stays with you for that long. Now we have 30% weapon damage at full stack, 30% skill efficiency, and 3% armor regen, and that's why you have the survivability on this type of build. Now for the specialization, I am running the technician, and this is because I want a specific item from this, and I'll explain to you that in just a second. But you are going to need to run the technician class if you're going to want to have that link laser pointer, and I'll show you what I have it on right now. For the weapon, we are running the Vector SBR, and this is going to have 91,000 on there, 1,380 RPM, 45 in the magazine. Plus, we do got this at 12% weapon damage expertise, which means we can get this up to 25. You know, that's what 20 expertise is at right now, but we haven't. So that means this build could get even stronger with those 4 blues. We do have SMG damage, crit chance, and damage targets out of cover, and then flatlining amplifies weapon damage by 15% to pulse enemies. Now we are using the link laser pointer and on this, and that's allowing us to proc that flatline because we aren't running a pulse. Now we have 20 rounds in the magazine, crit chance on the scope, and crit chance on the suppressor. Now for my secondary, I do have the ACS-12, and this is going to give me shotgun damage, damage to armor, and damage strikes out of cover, and I have preservation on there. So if I ever need to get a little bit of armor back because I feel like, hold on, I'm in a situation, that's why I like having preservation. This is not to put out crazy damage. It's more to build my stacks fast. Even though with the Vector that I'm building it quick, but if I really need to have preservation on a weapon, I don't mind having it on this ACS-12. And that's with killing an enemy repairs 10% armor over 5 seconds. If I get a headshot kill, that's additional 10%. So that's 20% armor over 5 seconds. Not bad at all. Crit chance and reload speed on this one. So for the build, we paired this up with Striker. That's why we get the 15% rate of fire. That's why we have 1,380 RPM on that Vector. We have 15% weapon handling for the 2-piece. 3-piece gives us 15% rate of fire. And Striker's Gamble. Weapon hints increase total weapon damage by 0.65%, stacking up 100 times. Now one stack is lost per second between 0 and 50, and 2 stacks lost per second between 50 and 100. Now we have armor rolled on here. We have critical hit damage and a critical hit damage mod. For our chest piece, we're running with the closer chest piece. This is going to give us that 5% total armor. We have armor on here. We have critical hit damage, critical hit chance, and a critical hit damage mod, plus perfect spotter, which only comes on the closer chest piece. Now this is going to amplify total weapon damage and skill damage by 20%. So that is why you want to go with this one. And I love having that extra 5% total armor. It boosts me up just enough where I feel pretty tanky with this build. For the second piece of Striker, we have the holster, and we have armor and critical hit chance. For our third piece of Striker, we have the knee pads with weapon damage, critical hit damage. For the gloves, we have weapon damage, critical hit damage. And then obviously, you know, we have the Memento backpack, and that's our fourth and final piece. So you guys saw me play this with 2 different ways, with a shield and without a shield. And what I'll tell you is with the shield, I love it because of it's a tier 6, right? So what does that mean? You're going to have 4.7 million health on that shield, plus 65,000 regeneration on the shield, and 96,000 regeneration when it's holster. So this thing is an absolute tank. It's tier 6, so it gets all those bonuses. And at 4.7 million, it isn't hard to keep this one up. I do have 5% shield on one of the slots, 5% active regeneration, and 5% holster regeneration. For my second skill, I am running the Reviver Hive, and that's just because the Reviver Hive is so good now. It instantly picks you up so fast that it's absolutely worth it. And I think a lot of you guys who haven't added this as a solo player probably will soon. And for our stats, 53 crit chance, 129% crit damage, 70% headshot damage. Then we have that 10% damage to targets out of cover on the build. And with this build, you guys are going to have an absolute blast. If you guys are looking for something that has a little bit more armor but shreds enemies, as a solo player, this is one of my go-to builds. I love running the vector with the striker. The RPM is absolutely crazy, and it's been one of my favorites for a long time. And I think a lot of you new returning players are going to enjoy this still in Title Update 20. So let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys in the next one. Nothing but skills out.